Hey everyone, welcome back to the homestead. Today we're going to be talking about chickens and how it can go from one chicken to a ton of chickens in just a matter of a few weeks. They can be a little habit forming, if you know what I mean. Oh boy. Ooh. Wow, yeah, that gets out of hand. So we'll show you our little chicken operation and what we've got going on here at the homestead. Let's get into it. All right, so raising chickens can get out of hand really quick, especially if you've got boys and girls and wives that, and let's face it, me too, that really like chickens, really like eggs. It can get out of hand very, very quickly. So I'm gonna give you the basics on how you can start out the right way. So the first off, you wanna start out with some chicks. My recommendation is that you get them from a reputable place. Like we get ours from Rural King. You can probably get them at Tractor Supply. And I'll show you our little chick setup here. So inside of our shed, we've got a heat lamp. These are actually some meat chickens that we're actually raising for meat production. Just make sure that they can't fly out. It's got to be tall enough. Sometimes you need to put like a netting on top, just something that won't catch on fire. Make sure that they always have food, water, clean the bedding out once a week, which we need to do today, and you will be good to go. If you want to go even a step further, not get them from Rural King or Tractor Supply, and you want to get them on your own, and you already have chickens and you have roosters, you can go ahead and fertilize your eggs. Our kids have been raising their eggs and hatching their own chickens now for a couple of months, and we've probably quadrupled the amount of chickens we have because of that. Then we raise them like this, or there's another way to raise them, which I'm going to show you guys here in a second. So this is Daffy. Daffy is the first chick we ever hatched on the homestead. We don't know what she is, but we're pretty sure that guy, that guy's the dad, and the mom is a barred rock like one of these. So she's a mix of those. She was actually really broody, and so we stuck a bunch of these fertilized eggs underneath her. And then we decided, once some eggs hatched from the incubator, that instead of raising them like you saw, we would raise them the natural way, and we're letting Daffy raise them, and she kind of adopted them. So if you put baby chicks under a broody hen, there's a pretty good chance she'll accept them. Now, you are gonna have some loss here. This isn't a surefire way to get your chickens to raise, but it's a heck of a lot easier. We don't really even have to do anything with them. She takes them to water, she takes them to food, she protects them when other more aggressive chickens come around, and you can just tell she's a good little mother hen. Once the chicks get a little bit bigger, what we built here, my son built a chicken tractor. Now the chicken tractor right now has some kind of exotics in there. It's got some turkeys, but a chicken tractor is just a very small setup. This has actually worked out really well. We just move it around every couple days, and they eat the grass. We feed them, we water them. Looks like they need to get some food there, May. Yeah. But it's a good way for them to, kind of get outside. You can do this without heat when they're old enough, when they have feathers, and when it's not like super freezing cold. All right, the next step is we built them a coop. Now this coop was built almost entirely on scrap material from a friend's deck. Now I want to show you that we are not messing around here. Chickens are messy creatures, so we're going to be doing a cleaning today, but all this can be a plus. All of it can be a plus, because if you use this manure as a fertilizer for your plants after it's been composted, you will have more manure than you know what to do with. And we like to do, might seem a little gross, but it does help with the smell. If you don't scoop out the manure and the bedding every time you clean this, you actually let it pile on, it'll hide the smell, and on top of hiding the smell, it starts composting so you guys can use this sooner. So I just had like a basic rack that they were throwing away at work, and my wife built some nesting boxes, and you can see every morning we come out and there are a ton of eggs. Well, you saw how many chickens we have. So the amount of eggs we get is insane. We ended up giving a couple dozen away to some friends at church, trying to give them away to my coworkers, but they're not bringing me empty egg cartons. But we end up with so much of an abundance, so we end up feeding some to the pigs. Now this coop right here is really like the laying coop. It's secured with regular chicken wire on the top part, because the top part is hard for predators to get to. And then on the easy to get to parts, we use hardware cloth. The hardware cloth is almost impossible for predators to puncture through. So we don't really do a lot of feeding and watering. This is basically where they're at nighttime. If you come over here, this is the big roosting area. So we've got more of those racks, we got multiple layers, and they roost in here all night long. So this is more of a protection for them because predators aren't getting through chain link. We have a tin roof, so nothing's gonna get to them through the top. And we also do the same thing with the bedding down in here. Have plenty of perches, plenty of areas for them to do it. Some other backyard poultry that we have is some quail. Now these quail have been in here for a while. Unfortunately, a couple of them got out the other day. My sons are going to be pretty pissed when they get home from Arizona and see that they're missing, but that's for another video. So back here we have an A-frame coop. Now these aren't chickens, but their care is relatively the same. So these are our pheasants. These are ringneck pheasants, and we have one black pheasant, and they have the little blinders on so that they don't hurt each other. I don't know how many we have, but there's a few. Looks like it's 2 males and several females, so they do pretty well in this A-frame, and they have protection from the elements up here in that box, so we're excited to breed these guys and have pheasants on the property as well. So if you're raising your own birds and you want to do it as cheap as possible and you have land, the best thing I can tell you to do is really allow your chickens to free range. Now we do feed our chickens. We threw some layer feed down to get them interested in coming out to the start of that video, but the amount of bugs and plants, vegetation that they can eat out here in the open really cuts back on how much. For all those birds, we probably throw out 2 scoops a day, and then the rest of their feed comes from them foraging. And after they've had their initial meal, they will just be running around looking for different things to eat throughout the property. So if I've got fruit, I'm in trouble because they will eat all of my berries. That's probably why I haven't had any blackberries in a few days. But after their morning feeding, they really just start scavenging. Now, if you want to have really healthy chickens and you're going to keep them in a coop, it's really important because they're basically prisoners. They're trapped. Oh yeah, that's right, Rooster. They're trapped. If they don't get food and water on a daily basis, they're going to die. And so you've got to make sure that they have access to clean water and food, or they're just going to be miserable. But that's pretty much what we're doing right now with our chicken situation. It's a little bonkers. It's a little out of control. But these chicks and chickens, and even the occasional turkey, really enjoy this free-range lifestyle. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, seeing what we're doing with our poultry operation here on the homestead. My son's actually butchered a couple of the roosters, and we're gonna have our first taste of our homegrown chicken here tonight on the homestead for 4th of July. So until the next video, please subscribe, and we'll catch you later. All right, the army of chickens desperately wants out. And how we're gonna do our opening shot is one of the girls is gonna release them, and we're gonna lure them over here with some food. And you guys won't see any of that until the end when I show you how we make it. So I'm gonna go into the shed, get some food, and then sprinkle it right in front. where they're gonna be. Hey everybody, welcome to the homestead. Today I want to show you how having one little chick can end up turning into an entire flock of chickens in a very, very short amount of time. So stick with the video, we'll tell you all about our chicken experiences and how we've gotten into it so far. Let's get going.